everybody, we are on our way to change the drain pan on a Daikin air handler. And when I ordered it, I thought I was just going to get the drain pan for it, but it turned out to be it's actually a whole bottom assembly. Now, I've never had to do one like that, so I don't know if it's going to be easier to put it together in place. I've already taken some of it apart, but I don't know if it's going to be easier to take it, do it while it's in place, or pump it down, pull it, put it on the ground, and then do it that way. So I will examine the situation when I get there and figure out what the best way is going to be. But we will see you when we get there. Alright, so here we are in this room. There's a Daikin air handler up there. There's the exterior of it. And what happened was, the reason the drain line broke on it was because somebody went up here and they apparently put their hand down on the drain line, and when they did, this is a stub, and you see it's broke clean off. So I don't know what happened, but as you see, I used Seal Tight because it's really rigid, and you see it's going across this little, I call it a shelf. I don't know what you would call it, but I call it a shelf. So it's really rigid, so it runs across this top of this, so there's no chance of any kinks or, you know, whatever. So that's why I used 1/2" Seal Tight for the drain line on this thing. But yeah, somebody was messing around with the wiring or something, and like I said, they just came up here, put their hand down on it, and broke the stub. So the new one's sitting down there in the box. So like I said, I've got to figure out what's going to be the best way to and you see what we did. This room used to have an air handler, a Mitsubishi dual port air handler. One used to sit over here and one used to be over there, and what they did is they just used a closet shelf brackets, and that's how they mounted it. So it's not, you know, there's no flat place on the wall. Down here you see we got all stacked stone, and so it's just, once this is up there, you can't really tell that it's how it's mounted. But alright, so here is my bottom piece that I've got to change out. So looks like I do have to pull it off the wall, so I've got to go out there and pump the unit down and pull everything down off the wall, which is no big deal. I did not braze this one in, and the reason I didn't braze it in is because it's so easy to get to. It's wide open up there, so it won't be a big deal to pull it down. So there you go. I'm gonna go out there, pump it down, pull the air handler out the wall or off the shelf, and get to work. Alright, so I got my air handler down off the wall. See, there's a bracket up there. Got my air handler out the wall, and I got it down on the ground. And as you can see, what I have is the bottom piece, which is everything except for the coil and the electrical. Now I did come with a vane for the motor. I mean, for a motor for the vanes. And there's that wire. And then I'm assuming, I don't know what this is here, but whatever it is. Oh, that's the motor right there that actually turns these vanes. That's the oscillating motor right there. So there's your plug for that. There's your plug for the motor for the vanes. And then so now I got to get the electrical off, which I've got the one screw unscrewed. Now I've never done this before, like I said, so I got to figure out, like I said, it's like a little puzzle. Get the puzzle apart, then you're good. Don't get it apart, then you're screwed. So Anyway, I'm going to work a little more on this and see if I can't figure it out. Now, if I was like heavy diesel or big refrigeration, I wouldn't have no problem. They probably have had these things apart like you wouldn't believe. But this is actually, I've only had one other one apart, and it had electric heat strips. But other than that, this is the first one I've had to do. So it's going to take me a little time. But I will do it, I promise. Alright, so I think I've got everything disconnected. You see there's a screw hole here, a screw hole here, screw hole here, a screw hole here. Same on the other side. So they're actually, you can't really see it, but there's a screw hole down in here and a screw hole down there. It's really difficult to get out. But I've got it out. Got a long bit for my drill. And now the only thing I have to do is unclip this in the back, and this thing should come out of here, and I'll show you what the coil looks like. I'll show you what the coil looks like when I get it out. It's nothing more than an A coil, just on a smaller version. So we'll show you, and the motor and the blower wheel will come with it. So we'll see what happens. Alright, so this little clip in the back, you just take your screwdriver like that, lift it off like that. I don't know if you saw that, but you just stick it in there, move it like that. It comes out just like that. Just like that. So I'm hoping that that's all I got to take apart, and I'm hoping that's all we have to take apart. So let me get this thing apart and we'll take a video of it. Alright, so there is the coil. Got it in the box because I've got to put take the motor out. But once you get everything apart, this is what you're left with. Got your motor and your wheel. You just slide it out of there like that. Now we just gotta disconnect the wires. Alright, so here's the wires to the motor. Right there, they were stuck in there. So while I got you here, you just lift it up like that, and then slide it in. See this? See, it's just got a little stud that comes out of it like that, little shaft. And it fits in that hole right there. And you just put it in that hole like that. Put the motor in there like that. And that should be it. So I guess if it fits in there one way, it'll go as far as that because of the wire connection. But it's in there, a little clip. So now we get to take the the coil. It's just an A coil, pretty much. That's all it is. So I'm gonna put it all back together, and so now the hard part is done. The hard part was trying to figure out how to get everything apart. So while I got it here, I'll show you what happened. Right down there. See, what I did while I was here that day was try to get that hose back in place, but it was unsuccessful. Let's see, it's got some glue. I was hoping to be smart and do it, but I asked him if I could just reconnect it here, and he said no. He did not want it reconnected to there, but in case something happened later on in the... See, I could have just took that plug and put that plug in there, and then it's been sealed up tight from over here, and put the drain hose on here. He didn't want me to do that because after the builder leaves, the main house out there caught on fire down in the basement, so he's having a lot of work done. Well, somebody from the working crew had done this. So he wanted it done right instead of doing that. So I was stuck with the chore of doing this instead of just taking that hose and moving it over there. Taking that hose, moving it over there on this one. I was stuck with that chore. So, but now it's done. Nobody has to worry about it except for the builder who has to pay the bill. Alright, so I've got everything back together except for these wires here. Now, the manufacturer has made it really simple because they've made these wires dummy proof. They only go in one plug. See, that one's different. That one's different than that one. And then so one right there, and then one up there. So, and look, you know I did this job right, because look, I got screws left over. Nah, I'm just joking. I use the screws from either the new or the old. And look, I even got parts left over. Yeah, that's the old one that used to fit there. However, like this, like that, and that's what the shaft of the blower wheel fitted into. So I'm gonna get these wires put back together, get it hung, get it get my lines tightened up, and pull a vacuum on this thing and get it started up. Because he's worried about this wood. See all the tongue and groove. So if you're wondering how high this is up there, that's a 10-foot ladder right there. So it goes up another probably 20 foot. I mean, it's about 20 foot up to the top where the light connects to up there. So got a little fireplace out here. It's wrought iron stuff. And then these doors. I'll tell you what, if you breaking this, so you're not getting in this room, it's like a fortress. Look at that lock for this other door, this other French door. You're not getting in here, I tell you what. So, but there's nothing in here to get in here for. It's just an empty room. Alright, so I've got everything put back together now. And if you're wondering about the power on this indoor unit, just remember, these things are, there's a lot of heat and air companies that put these in, but when it comes time to work on them here in the United States, it's more of a specialty, I think. There's a lot of service techs that don't want to work on them. They're intimidated by them, but they're actually pretty simple. Or really no difference than a regular air conditioner. They're just small. But your power for this does not get ran from a circuit from your electric panel. It actually gets power sent from the outdoor unit on terminal 1, 2, and 3. This is your 208 or 240 volts, and then you have a signal wire here. And then of course you have your ground. So that's basically it, and your power gets fed in from back here. This is a lot easier than a wall hung unit. Well, this is a wall hung unit, but this job was actually easier than doing a wall hung, just simply because it's hanging on the shelf. My bracket's just kind of free hanging, and then of course you see the wire right there, up there. See that wire? That is the wire coming from outside. And then you see the red, orange, blue, and black wires. That's my wires coming from out. That's going to connect to right there. But we'll get it mounted and get it running, get the cover back on it, and then we'll be done. And I'm glad, because I was dreading this little job, but it was simple enough. Alright, so there is the last thing I have to do inside. The air handler is up in place. Got everything mounted, balanced, and out the door. But anyway, just got to put that in place now, and then go outside and do the pull a vacuum on it, start it up. It'll be done, and I'm glad.